Good morning, Mr. Griffith. How are you going?
Hi, good morning. Not too
Nice
bad
one.
at all.
All right. So a couple questions to ask you here, and I want to entertain at least maybe two or three calls on this particular issue because it has been asked. I've gotten messages, countless messages. Stefan, where's Gary real plan boy? What is Gary really doing? And the first thing we're going to get to is the NTA joining with the UNC for the local government election. All right, I had a caller earlier this week who said, I was looking for something different. I fed up at PNM and UNC, and I see Gary going and join with the UNC. I don't know what to do now. So why for the local join with the UNC?
Okay, sure. So, good morning. Thanks for bringing me on. I've noticed that everyone is speaking about this except going to the source. So, let me clarify. Because this word coalition, it seems to be a concern in Trinidad and Tobago. But let me just put this into perspective here. We have over 80 to 90 countries in the world had coalition governments or presently have coalition governments. Over 30 in Europe, a dozen in Africa, Asia, the Americas. It has been there. It has been tried, tested. Many have would have been successful. Some would have failed. In Trinidad and Tobago, likewise. Going to back on Trinidad and Tobago, let's do the maths. I am very scientific. I'm very tactical with everything I do. I'm in it to win it. Every single time there's a coalition government, the PNM is defeated. Every single time. 1986, 1995, 2010 general election, 2010 local government. So the four occasions there was an organized coalition of unification of political entities working together. PNM has been defeated 100%. 100% of the time when it does not take place, the PNM has succeeded and they have won. The PNM have never lost when there's not a coalition, except for one occasion, and that lasted a few months.
Okay.
So the maths is there. The PNM, if it is they go against all the political parties on their own, operating as silos, they win 100% of the time. Anytime there's a coalition of political parties, the PNM would lose. So now let's look at this situation. The persons are, when we look at this, what we call the third parties, it started in 1981 with the ONR with 91,000 votes. We then moved on to 1991 with the NAR 127,000 votes. We then moved up to 2007 with the Congress of the People 147,000 votes. The polls that we have now puts again the NTA just about the same, 12% odd. And that 12%, because of how it was, our constitution has been set, that third party can never win on its own. However, that third party, whatever decision they make, decides the election. So the third party goes on their own. You will get 91,000, 127,000, 147,000 votes with probably no seats, as in 1981, 1991, 2007. That third party working with another major political party, as what the ONR did with the ULF in 1986, what happened with the UNC with A&R Robinson in 1995, what happened with the COP and the UNC in 2010, the PNM is always defeated. So the persons who support this bridge constituency, who are not PNM or UNC till they die, the only thing I'm giving to you, you need to make the choice. If you want Gary Griffith to be part of governance, you want Gary Griffith to come back and serve you, you want Gary Griffith and his team to provide you with the safety, security that you had before, and you want to see it again, where it is that now presently on traffic congestions all around the road, you cannot see a police officer, you cannot see you cannot get a response, you're not safe, and it's not the fault of the police officers, it has to do with leadership. So even in this local government election, the same way I was able to lock down the country utilizing tactics and strategies that peg back criminals, I can do the same in local government with municipal policing. So you need to make the choice. Do we stay the high and mighty and say we are better than everybody else and then get nowhere, have no opportunity to serve you, or do we form a strategic alliance to give me the opportunity? So again, this is political parties. No political party is perfect. So sometimes you can have some kind of strategic alliance. It is not like football, like Manchester United supporters. We will not form a strategic alliance with that jersey that you're wearing. Those are the types of alliance that you wouldn't have. In fact, I actually used that jersey to wash my car yesterday. Thanks a lot, those stuff.
Okay. So
I had to put that in. I'm sorry. I was pulling back.
no problem, no problem. I'll take it because you finish ahead of me in the English Premier League. I had to take that. Okay. So you're not playing, but you are working with history. History says that this is what happens when you have a coalition, and this is what happens when you don't. Now, here's the thing. There are people who might like your leadership style. They might say, okay, the NTA is a different option, but how much influence is the UNC going to have over the NTA and decisions moving forward? And
Right.
because of the UNC's foot so deep in politics in Trinidad and Tobago and the amount of support they have, because we've seen the electoral maps over the last how much ever elections where like the majority of the map yellow and just that east-west corridor, and we'll come to the east-west corridor. The east-west corridor is where the PNM usually wins the election. So how, how resistant can the NTA be in terms of keeping the UNC in line then,
Yeah.
and holding
I
them to
understand.
accountability and transparency?
Yeah, so it is not more about resistance, but influence. And
Okay.
that is the difference. There's one word that is going to make the difference to what happened in the People's Partnership to now: communication, dialogue, mutual respect. And that did not take place. And that is no to blame the UNC. If the hierarchy of the Congress of the People did what was required, this would not have taken place. So I could give you the assurance, because of my style, the country is aware of my style, my personality. I am not going to bully myself in any partnership. That is not a partnership. But I intend to ensure that representation of that bridge constituency would be properly represented. And I could tell you, I'm being honest, I'm being very open. I was there in cabinet. I saw the individuals in the Congress of the People who were cabinet members. They said nothing. They did nothing. And I was not even in the COP at the time, and I had to represent that third constituency. So that therein lies the difference, where I give the assurance. People have seen my style from what happened in 2015, what happened to me when a prime minister blatantly tried to influence me to do things that would have been incorrect, and I stood firm. So this is not about me going in there and demanding things or drawing lines. There's going to be proper mutual respect. And again, yes, there will be concerns about the UNC. No political party is perfect. The NT is definitely not perfect. We are green, we are new, we are dynamic. But the fact of the matter is, if there's proper dialogue, and that becomes the benefit of a coalition government. With a coalition, you make sure that there are checks and balances, so that if one decides to go a little too much to the left or right, you can pull them in. When you have one unified government and you have one individual who becomes a dictator, he can become arrogant, he become obnoxious, self-centered, full of hate. Oh, wait a minute, that's what's happening right now. So you see the difference with a government and that of a coalition. And again, the main thing about this is that if it is two things, people, 89% wanted Gary Griffith to remain as commissioner or had no concerns. And there's a comedian political leader who said, yeah, but only 500 people voted. Well, duh. In the United States election, out of 300 million odd, you do a poll sample of about 5 to 10,000 and you have a margin of error of 5%. So when Nigel Henry did that poll, it was very scientific. And that scientific poll showed something. So the only way that you can get me to come back to represent you, to secure you, to make your life safer. And this is not just about policing. This is not about law enforcement. The same way that we were able to transform the police service, we are going to transform every arm in the public service, especially that of local government. So the question must be asked: as much as you may have concerns about the UNC, you need to ask yourself, if we do not do this, there's something in the military you call what next, the steps beyond. You do not do this, it's not going to get me to represent you. And more importantly, it is going to ensure that Keith Rowley remains. So you have to look, and this is not about lesser of two evils. This is about, if this is not done, it means that you indirectly want Keith Rowley to remain doing what he is doing. It is your choice.
Okay. Now, in terms of getting in from the local government in this election, the East-West corridor seems to be the problem for any opposition party. The PNM seem to have the East-West corridor pretty much in their hands. It's very difficult to wrestle that away. The COP did have some success there in 2010, which eventually led to the People's Partnership winning the election. Can the NTA have an impact in the East-West corridor?
Well, all that you have to do when you hear a prime minister spend 47 minutes out of 55 in the first political meeting for a national election, speaking about, so this is a political leader of a party nearly 70 years old, spending 47 minutes out of 55 speaking about a political leader of another party that's just about 10 months old. It sums it up right there. The man is mortified. And that is the concern. He has the concern that the NTA with Gary Griffith there is that he is going to cut deep into the PNM's base. And so the initial game plan of the PNM was, look, we have the corridor covered. We don't need to put anything into it. Let's put focus to make sure we maintain San Fernando and try to win Sangre Grande. His whole tactical maneuvers now have to change because back at the ranch, his rear echelon, his headquarters could now be lost. So a lot of his resources now, that's why you will ever see Keith Rowley having his first political meeting in the belly of PNM Heartland because he is concerned. That is what happened in 2010. 2010, because of that same flip over of the 147,000 voters working alongside the UNC support base, which may not be heavy, it would have been about 25% of the voting population in the corridor. But that adds to the COP voters. We were able to win Diego Martin 7-3. We were able to win a few seats in Port of Spain, a few seats in San Juan, take Puna Corporation, take Diego Martin Corporation, take Arima Corporation, and San Fernando. So whereas at this time it was 7-7, in 2010 it was 11-3. So there were 4 corporations lost because of this type of coalition. And they have done their polls and they've realized that what the NT has done now is cut deep into the base of that corridor from Diego Martin, Port of Spain, San Juan, Lavantil, Tunapuna, and Arima. And may I also add Point Fortin. So that is why he had to put out all his guns to be nasty, to go to the gutter, to do everything to try to spit hate venom to discredit me with a lot of misinformation, by the way, which the country did not buy because they are fed up of him, to the point that his own supporters started attacking him in his own political meeting, which has never happened before, because even PNM supporters are frustrated. And again, going back to the concerns of the UNC, there are concerns with the PNM. There would be concerns with the NTA. What you have to do is to rectify those problems. So the perception people have that the PNM is a totally bad and incompetent party, or the UNC is a terrible party, I beg to differ. Both parties have done a lot for the development of Trinidad and Tobago. And no party could be that terrible when you still have 300,000 persons on either side still support those parties. It has to do at times with the leadership. And the leadership has a big part to play with it. Because I have the world of respect for the PNM and PNM supporters. It is the RPNM that has become the problem, the Rowley PNM. Because when you looked at Patrick Manning, his charisma, his style, how he operated with Basdio Pandey, Kamala Prasad-Misesa was prepared to do the same. You have seen how she invited him to South Africa for Mandela's funeral. You have seen her personality in trying to liaise with him. The man on the other hand tries to cause division, hatred, to the point that you are trying to say that guns were being given to one race to kill another. That is a civil war. In some countries, he would be arrested. There would be a snap election. But we accept nonsense. So it has to do with the leadership. And I can tell you, with the leadership of the UNC, I will ensure that there's a good working relationship, proper dialogue, proper communication. And if at any time either side will dip, the other one will pull us up to ensure, listen, we are going in the wrong direction. And that is why I can give the assurance it did not hold in 1986. It did not work properly in 2010. It is going to work this time.
And just on that point that you made there with the statement that he made about one ethnicity getting guns to kill the next ethnicity, I saw that the NTA, I didn't see it from any other political party. I'm not too sure. I stand to be corrected, but I saw that the NTA did write to the ethics committee, because it was this ethics committee that came out and said they would be monitoring all that is said on these political platforms to make sure that no defamatory statements are made, and I thought that the ethics committee would have picked up with that without anybody having to write them, because I mean it was all over the place, and it's a very dangerous statement.
Yeah, right. They would have never said a word. And by us writing it, let us see what they will do. Do you think that they will condemn Keith Rowley? Do you think that they will make any statement? The country will now judge the ethics committee based on what they do with this, because you cannot get worse than what this man did. This man caused blatant racist division in the country to the point of trying to draw a line that could cause people to influence violence. And the man lies. He lied. And people say you mustn't say someone lies. When Kamala Prasad Visesa spoke about stand your ground, this man has the audacity to state that stand your ground is if somebody throws a ball in the yard and you go pick it up, it gives you the right to kill somebody. That is not stand your ground. It is a lie. But he is deliberately trying to incite what happens when a political party understands that they are losing. They try to solidify their base by saying it is us versus them. So whereas Keith Rowley's style is hatred, division, arrogance, political intimidation, vindictiveness, we intend to unite, to be productive, to bring people together, to circle the wagons, because there's a saying that the whole is greater than the sum of the parts. And that's what I intend to do. That is what we intend to do. And I ask the country to rally with us. If it is that you want Gary Griffith to come back, to assist you, to support you, to secure you, to make your life better, this is the only way it can be done. It is not perfect, but again, with the NT being a very green party, there's a lot that we need to do. And sometimes we would need another party to work with us. But I give the assurance that with the type of leadership that I bring, not to lead, but to serve, we are going to make sure that this country is going to be safe again, and it will be a better country because of the type of leadership that you will be getting.
Okay, now I wanna just entertain some calls here. We have about 10 more minutes. So 2355325 is the number to call. I want to give people the opportunity to call in. Those of you who you're getting ready for the local government election, you may have had some concerns on why the NT has joined with the UNC, things like that. You have the opportunity now to call in and put your question to Mr. Griffith. Hello, good morning.
Hello, good morning, Stefan.
Morning, dear. What's your question?
Yeah, I'm a bit hoarse, so I can't say much. Yeah, but what I have to say, I agree with Mr. Griffith. Everything he said. He's somebody with integrity. We trust him, and we need this togetherness. Mr. Griffith, please hold it together. Unity is strength. Okay, Mr. Griffith, hold it together. You, with this coalition, it will work. But you all have to hold it together. Right? We have to take back our country from this PNM. Okay, God bless you all. And Mr. Griffith, as I said, congratulations.
Okay. Some congratulations going out there.
Stefan, if I could, I will. But Stefan, if I could, and to show you the point of when I speak about unification, this is not about us bullying ourselves to say let's all just team up together to destroy the PNM.
Yeah.
Recall, and to the people who criticize me for what I'm doing, the first olive branch that I threw as a political leader was to who? Keith Rowley. Remember that.
Yeah.
It is, I said, I am willing to help you. I am willing to assist you. I am not here to make Keith Rowley fail or to make Keith Rowley lose. As a patriot, I will always put country first. I said, listen, you have the obviously the most incompetent security minister. You have a commissioner who, well, that's a thing by itself. I am willing to show you what was done that made Trinidad and Tobago the safest they ever felt in years. That what it is that I did that caused crime to go down to number 4, concern behind health, safety, and the economy. What caused the murder rate to be 342, and after I left, it has gone to over 600. I can assist you. The man said, I do not care. I do not want your help. Get away from me. Be gone. So to anyone who has a concern because of what I am doing, understand that I threw the olive branch both ways. At least Kamala Prasad Visesa had the maturity, the leadership to understand and embrace that because you're not a UNC till you die, it doesn't mean that I cannot work with you. Keith Rowley's arrogance and personal attitude is what has caused the downfall of the PNM.
Okay. We have another caller. Hello, good morning.
Hello, good morning, gentlemen.
Yeah, morning. Yeah, Mark Paul, go ahead.
I want to put this question to Gary.
Yeah.
If he was still the police commissioner, right, present now, and Rowley made that statement, would he have been brought to face the courts or some charges laid against him? Because we saw the incident with Satmaraj when he made that statement. We saw when the doctor made the statement. We saw when the Ramsaran person made the statement, how the reaction was against them, and reprimand was done against them.
Yeah.
Why it is we ain't having something like that happen right now with this statement this man made? Because I am so disgusted right now with just thinking that we living in a society and somebody who holds leadership position that could influence us at a dotish people, especially the ones who keep voting for the PNM. to react in a certain way against my ethnicity in Trinidad and Tobago. Because I am a bit concerned knowing that I could be walking on the streets and somebody of African descent might think that I have a gun waiting to shoot them.
Okay.
You understand? And this man made that statement in a public domain and nothing happening in this country. That is madness.
Okay.
And one other thing, we have to understand where politics are in Trinidad and Tobago, Gary. And I think everybody by now is supposed to know that the PNM government is not good for Trinidad and Tobago and the future for Trinidad. It is bad. They are a brand for themselves, not for the country. And all these people who forming political parties, let them mature enough to know that, here what, to carry this country forward, we have to put our differences aside, be real, get on board with the UNC, because that is where we are in the country right now. We have to accept reality and move the country forward, because you is a real asset to Trinidad and Tobago, the safety and the security of Trinidad and Tobago. And I think your contribution would be much more appreciated in a place where you could really add true value and true meaning for us in Trinidad and Tobago. So I thank you and be careful, be safe.
All right, Barakpo. And Barakpo does be critical of you at times, so I surprise you. But that's an important question. If you were commissioner of police and that statement was made on a public platform, what is supposed to happen?
Well, I'll have to take an in-depth look at it with my attorneys at the Office of the Commissioner of Police to verify if a law was broken. But again, there's a difference with a criminal act and an unethical one. And what he did was lack of ethics, lack of professionalism. You tried to divide the country. Let me tell you what that man has done. If by chance, there's an incident in the near future, heaven forbid, and two Afro-Trinidadians jump over someone's wall, break into their house with a knife or a cutlass, and you shoot them, that could very well trigger some type of racial division in the country.
No.
And it had nothing to do with the race. It had to do with in the back of their mind, he dog whistled and let people realize, you see, this is what we were talking about. But the thing is, the individual, there was a right for the person to defend themselves because their wife could have been raped, their daughter could have been killed, their son could have been kidnapped. And what he has done now could cause persons to be fearful from defending themselves if it is that they have a firearm. What this man has done was evil. It was wrong. I would beg to differ. The one comment from the last caller about the people who vote for the PNM are dotish people. No, they're not. They are persons who sometimes are more concerned about the other side. So sometimes hatred or fear takes precedence over doing what is right for the country. And this is why I ask the country, do not be fearful. Do not have hatred. We are here to make sure that there will be a proper representation for persons who may not be UNC till they die. There's nothing wrong with that. And again, to that last caller, the investigation by this police commissioner, it is not going to happen. The police service has become, unfortunately, at the hierarchy, totally politicized. I go back to the Blissy Prasad situation. The minutes of the Police Service Commission confirmed that they never withdrew the merit list, that they never suspended the commissioner. Blissy Prasad should have been arrested, say, for 2 years now, and Erla Christopher has refused to touch it because she knows if she touches that and she goes, and all it takes, this matter could be dealt with in a week because McDonald Jacob, in a deceitful way, said that he couldn't investigate because nobody reported a crime. So if that's the case, how can you spend 70 police officers for the last 2 years digging up for legal firearms and nobody reported a crime? But you're digging up that because your political people who put you there told you to do so. In the case of Erla Christopher, up to now, she has refused. All it takes is to speak to the 3 previous Police Service Commission members. And the country never asks, why did they all resign in disgust? They resign in disgust because of political influence. Right. And so politicians influence an independent body. And Blissy Prasad suspended a commissioner without their approval, which is treason. She also withdrew a merit list without their approval, which is misbehavior in office. She should have been pulled in by the police and then asked, did anybody influence or intimidate you to do that? And under plea bargaining, she would make the statement. So you see where I'm going with this. Yeah. But Erla Christopher has refused. Again, this Police Service Commission, because of their act, because they were appointed by a president who's appointed by a prime minister, they know what they're doing as well. Right. So that is where we call dictatorship, because This is a police state now. So that matter of that investigation would never take place.
Okay. Well, Director, tell me we're out of time, but I'll give you just a few moments to give a closing comment before we wrap up. Any words to the people of
Well,
Trinidad
just,
and Tobago?
I don't have, yeah, I don't have much more to, that I do hope that firstly that people will understand the value of this. Without this, you are basically stating that you want Keith Rowley to remain in office. So the people who are the most vociferous are already the PNM diehards. They wanted Gary Griffith to go down the center, what they call split the vote, to help them. Now that they see what I have done, they're in panic mode. So the one word of advice I do want is that, so it's two words of advice. First, to tell the public, understand, if this does not happen, it means indirectly you want Keith Rowley to remain. The second word of advice is, Stefan, to ever wear that jersey again.
All right. All right, no problem. Well, best of luck and thanks for the time.
Take care.
All right.